The Awakening. Earth's integration into the Galactic Cooperative had been tenuous at best. After decades of careful negotiations, humanity had secured a modest voice among the stars, a single seat at a vast table of ancient civilizations. Ambassador Michael Chen represented everything hopeful about human potential, brilliant, compassionate, and determined to secure humanity's place among the stars. His 10-year-old son, Eli, had become something of an unofficial mascot within the diplomatic enclave on Nexus Station, the massive orbital platform where the Cooperative's governing body convened. Eli's curiosity was infectious, his questions endless, his wonder at the universe unbounded. The boy moved between alien delegates with an ease that even veteran diplomats envied, collecting stories and trinkets from 100 worlds. The diplomatic reception that evening had been like many others. Delegates from 17 systems had gathered to discuss trade routes through the Perseus Arm, with Earth making a case for access to the lucrative shipping lanes currently dominated by the Tauran Syndicate. Eli had been there, dressed in his formal blue suit, hair carefully combed, solemnly shaking hands as his father had taught him. Ambassador Chen, the Tauran representative, had said, mandibles clicking with practiced restraint, "Your proposal is ambitious. Perhaps tomorrow we might discuss more realistic terms." Michael Chen had simply nodded, maintaining the pleasant diplomatic smile that had become his trademark. "I look forward to it, Representative Ket." It was the last conversation anyone would witness between them. The explosion occurred precisely 17 minutes later. A catastrophic environmental system failure was what the official records would call it. The reception chamber's atmosphere abruptly vented, emergency force fields failing in a statistical impossibility of cascading system errors. 23 beings died in the vacuum, including Michael Chen and his son Eli. The Cooperative's Security Council issued immediate condolences. An investigation was promised. Reparations were discussed in hushed tones. Earth's response was silence. No official statements, no diplomatic cables, no demands for justice. Just silence. Within 48 hours, every human diplomat, trader, and civilian throughout cooperative space received recall notices. Vessels departed their berths without explanation. Outposts went dark. Earth's communications buoys along the relay network powered down one by one. In the vacuum of Earth's silence, rumors spread faster than light between the stars. Some said humanity was retreating back to its homeworld in fear. Others whispered that Earth was preparing for war, though the notion seemed absurd. Earth's military capabilities were thoroughly documented and posed no serious threat to the Cooperative's combined might. The truth was something else entirely. In a secure chamber 3 kilometers beneath Wyoming's desolate plains, 5 individuals sat around a brushed steel table. They comprised Earth's Shadow Council, a contingency body activated only 3 times in history, each during existential threats to humanity. "The evidence is conclusive," said Director Santos, sliding a datapad across the table. "The atmospheric controls were sabotage. We have the signature." "Tauran?" asked General Winters, her weathered face betraying nothing. "The executable code was Tauran, but the delivery mechanism was Vexillian," Santos replied. "Classic false flag. They wanted us to blame the Taurans." Admiral Katri, the eldest of the 5, leaned forward. The boy was the target. Chen was collateral. No one disputed this. The data points were clear. The venting sequence had begun precisely where Eli had been standing. "They're testing us," said the 4th member, Dr. Levine, cybernetics specialist, "seeing how we respond to provocation." The 5th person at the table hadn't spoken. She sat motionless, eyes fixed on the holographic image rotating above the table. Eli Chen's school portrait, his smile wide and genuine. "Commander Hayes," Santos said softly, "your assessment." Ilara Hayes looked up slowly. At 47, her face carried the weathered determination of someone who had seen humanity's darkest corners and emerged intact. The silver streaks in her black hair caught the light as she straightened. They killed a child to make a point, she said, her voice steady and cold. So we'll answer in kind. The others exchanged glances. You understand what you're proposing, Caffrey said. Centennial hasn't been activated since the Europa crisis. The protocols alone. I wrote the protocols, Hayes interrupted, and I'll execute them. Alone. The silence that followed was heavy with unspoken history. Everyone at the table knew Hayes's record. The augmentations, the neural modifications, the decades of service before she'd been officially retired from field operations, before Centennial had been officially decommissioned. The cooperative has 7,000 member worlds, Commander, Winters said carefully. Their combined military strength won't matter, Hayes finished. This isn't about war. It's about accountability. Her eyes returned to Ely's image. They think we're weak because we seek peace. They need to understand what we're choosing not to do. Director Santos nodded slowly, then placed his palm on the table surface. One by one, the others followed. A silent vote. Centennial is authorized, Santos said formally. Operation parameters. Locate and extract all individuals responsible for the Nexus Station attack. Secondary objective. Ensure the cooperative understands the consequences of targeting human children. Hayes stood. I'll need the Orpheus. The vessel has been maintained, Santos confirmed, as per your specifications. And the neural package. Dr. Levine looked uncomfortable. It's ready, but the side effects are acceptable, Hayes finished. She turned to leave, then paused at the door. When I'm done, they won't just fear us. They'll understand us. As Hayes departed, Admiral Caffrey looked troubled. God help them, he murmured. The cooperative has no idea what they've awakened. 12 hours later, Commander Ilara Hayes entered the activation chamber. The neural implants that had lain dormant for years hummed to life as the specialized cocktail of combat stimulants and neural enhancers flowed into her system. Memories surfaced. Another child. Another time. Her daughter, Sophia, who had died during the colony wars when Hayes had been too far away to save her. The Orpheus was precisely as she remembered. A stealth vessel designed for a single occupant, capable of bypassing any known detection system. As the ship lifted from its underground hangar, Earth continued its diplomatic silence. The first sign that something had changed came 3 days later on Outpost Kappa 7, a remote trading station on the edge of Vexillian space. The station's security chief, a high-ranking Vexillian named Draskforn, failed to report for his shift. When security protocols initiated an automatic check of his quarters, they found only an empty room. The station's logs showed no unauthorized entries, no unscheduled departures. The only anomaly was a small human trinket left on Vorn's desk, a toy spacecraft, the kind a child might play with. Beside it lay a single strand of human hair. When analyzed, the DNA matched Eli Chen's profile. The message was unmistakable. We can reach you anywhere. On Nexus Station, the Cooperative Council convened an emergency session. Delegates spoke in hushed tones about Earth's silence, about the disappearance on Kappa 7. This is clearly a human provocation, insisted the Vexillian ambassador, Thren Cass. Their silence is a prelude to aggression. The Archon, oldest member of the Council, raised a weathered hand for silence. Let us not forget that they are the aggrieved party here. A child died in our care. An accident, Cass dismissed. Tragic, but not unprecedented. The humans must acknowledge that space is dangerous. The Tauran representative clicked her mandibles in disagreement. Our preliminary investigation suggests the environmental systems were compromised. This was no accident. Before Cass could respond, the chamber's lights flickered momentarily. Every screen in the vast hall displayed the same image, Eli Chen's face, smiling. Then darkness, followed by the regular lighting resuming as if nothing had happened. The council erupted in confusion. Security teams swarmed, scanning systems, checking for breaches. Impossible. the station's security chief reported. The broadcast originated from within our secure network. Someone's already inside our systems. On the outskirts of Vexillian space, Commander Hayes reviewed the data extracted from Draskforn before his termination. The neural enhancements allowed her to process information at superhuman speeds, connecting patterns across thousands of communications logs. The conspiracy unfolded before her, a Vexillian-led initiative to stall Earth's growing influence. Ela's death had been calculated, a warning to humanity to remain in its place. The names of those responsible formed a constellation of targets across cooperative space. As the Orpheus slipped between stars, Hayes felt no satisfaction, no revenge-fueled pleasure, only purpose. Behind her impassive expression, memories of her own daughter blended with images of Eli Chen, children who would never grow up, never fulfill their potential. They will learn, Hayes whispered to the emptiness of space as she plotted the next extraction. On Nexus Station, security measures doubled, then tripled. But in the silence between the stars, seeds of fear had already been planted. No declaration of war had been issued, no demands made, just the quiet disappearance of those connected to a child's death, and the growing realization that humanity's restraint had been mistaken for weakness, a mistake the cooperative was beginning to understand would cost them dearly. The Reckoning. The Vexillian High Command operated from a fortress moon orbiting their homeworld, a facility carved into the satellite's core, protected by defense systems that had repelled invasions for millennia. No unauthorized vessel had ever penetrated its security perimeter. Until now. General Kreth Mailer studied the security briefing with mounting unease. 3 of his top operatives had vanished in the past week, each disappearance marked by the same calling card: a child's toy and a strand of human hair. No demands, no communications, just silence and surgical precision. Increase security protocols to zenith level, he ordered his aide. And move my quarters to the inner sanctum. Sir, the aide hesitated. The humans have made no formal accusations. Perhaps diplomatic channels. They're not interested in diplomacy, Mailer snapped. They're hunting. That night, despite the enhanced security, despite the biometric locks and armed guards, General Mailer woke to find a figure standing at the foot of his bed. Human. Female. Her eyes reflected the dim light like a predator's. General Kreth Mailer, Hayes said softly. Architect of Operation Stillwater. Authorization code. VX7729 Epsilon. Mailer reached for the emergency beacon beneath his pillow, but his limbs wouldn't respond. The paralytic agent Hayes had introduced into his chamber's ventilation system had taken effect. How? He began. The same way you accessed Nexus Station's environmental controls, Hayes replied. Through the maintenance protocols your people installed when you helped build it. Recognition dawned in Mailer's eyes. The Chen boy. It was a regrettable necessity. Your kind advances too quickly. The cooperative required reassurance of Earth's place. Hayes approached slowly. You calculated that we would respond with outrage. Perhaps sanctions, or at worst, a limited military action that the cooperative could easily contain. She tilted her head. You didn't factor in silence. What do you want? Nolar whispered. Information, Hayes said, connecting a neural interface to Mailer's temple. Then justice. 3 hours later, Hayes departed the fortress moon, leaving behind the lifeless body of General Mailer and a complete confession recorded in his own voice, detailing the conspiracy against Earth and the deliberate targeting of Eli Chen. The confession was broadcast simultaneously to every communication node in cooperative space. On Nexus Station, chaos erupted as the recording played. Counselor Threnkas attempted to flee but found every docking bay locked down. Station security, acting independently, took him into custody as the evidence of his involvement became irrefutable. The Archon called an emergency session of the full council. Representatives from all cooperative species gathered in the Grand Chamber, tension palpable in the air. We face an unprecedented situation. The Archon began. Evidence suggests members of our own council orchestrated an attack that killed citizens of Earth, including a child, in an attempt to intimidate humanity. Murmurs rippled through the assembly. More disturbing, the Archon continued, is that while we debated policy, a single human operative appears to have penetrated our most secure facilities, extracted the guilty parties, and delivered irrefutable evidence of their crimes. The Tauran representative rose. The humans have violated our sovereignty. Despite the provocation, their actions constitute. The chamber doors opened. Commander Ilara Hayes walked in, unarmed, still wearing the black combat suit that had become feared across cooperative space. Security personnel moved to intercept her but stopped at a gesture from the Archon. "Commander Hayes, I presume," the ancient being said. Hayes inclined her head slightly. "I come as Earth's voice, broken by your betrayal." "And what does Earth say to us now?" the Archon asked. Hayes's eyes swept the chamber, meeting the gaze of each species representative. "Earth says this: we joined your cooperative, seeking friendship. We followed your rules. We trusted you with our people, with our children." Her voice remained calm, but carried to every corner of the vast room. "That trust is broken. Those responsible have answered for their crimes." "And now," the Archon prompted. "Now you understand what we are," Hayes said. "Not because we told you, but because we showed you. One operative, one ship, no declarations of war, no fleets, just the quiet certainty that actions have consequences." The implications hung in the air. If one human could bypass the cooperative's most advanced defenses, what could humanity do if truly provoked? "Earth requests the following," Hayes continued. "A full investigation into the conspiracy against us. Guarantees that no similar action will be taken against any Earth citizen, and recognition of our sovereign right to defend our people as we see fit." Or, the Tauran representative challenged. Hayes simply looked at her. The silence that followed spoke volumes. The Archon broke the tension. "The Council will consider Earth's requests. In the meantime, Commander, will there be further demonstrations?" "That depends on you," Hayes replied. "Justice has been served to those directly responsible. What remains is ensuring such crimes are never attempted again." As Hayes turned to leave, the Archon spoke once more. "Commander, one question. Your methods, they are not typical of Earth's diplomatic approach. Are you acting with full authorization?" Hayes paused at the door. "Earth speaks with many voices, Archon. I am simply the one you forced us to use." She looked back over her shoulder. "Pray you never hear the others." In the days that followed, the Cooperative Council unanimously approved Earth's requests. The conspiracy was fully exposed. A faction of species concerned about humanity's rapid advancement had sought to intimidate Earth back into isolation. Criminal proceedings were initiated against all involved. Diplomatic channels reopened. Human vessels returned to cooperative space. On the surface, relations normalized. But something fundamental had changed. The whispers continued, not of Earth's weakness, but of the silent hunter who had moved through the most secure facilities in known space like a ghost, of justice delivered not with fleets and armies, but with precision and purpose. In the secure chamber beneath Wyoming's plains, Commander Hayes made her final report to the Shadow Council. "Centennial protocols complete," she stated. "All primary targets neutralized. Secondary objective achieved." Director Santos nodded. "And your assessment of the cooperative's understanding?" "They recognize now what we've always known," Hayes replied. "That humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology or our numbers. It's our determination. Our unwillingness to let injustice stand, no matter the odds." "And the neural enhancements?" Dr. Levine asked cautiously. Hayes touched the base of her skull where the implants hummed. "I'll begin deactivation procedures tomorrow." Admiral Catry studied her. "The cooperative fears us now." "Good," Hayes said simply. "Fear will keep them honest until respect can grow." They needed to understand that our peaceful approach isn't born from weakness, but choice. As Hayes left the chamber, she passed a memorial wall recently updated with two holographic images, Michael Chen and his son Eli. Beside them was an older image, a girl with Hayes's eyes and smile. Sophia. Hayes paused, touching the projection of Eli gently. "They understand now," she whispered. "They won't hurt another child." On Nexus Station, the diplomatic chamber where tragedy had struck was rebuilt and rededicated. A small garden now occupied one corner, filled with plants from Earth and 17 other worlds. At its center stood a simple stone marker with words in multiple languages. For Eli Chen of Earth, may his memory teach us that the youngest voices often speak the most important truths. May his legacy be peace born of understanding, not fear. The cooperative continued its grand debates and political maneuverings. Trade routes were negotiated, treaties signed, alliances formed and broken. But something had changed in how the ancient species viewed their newest member. Humanity had revealed itself not through grandstanding or threats, but through silence followed by decisive action. They had demonstrated that their diplomatic overtures weren't born of necessity, but preference, that their restraint was a gift that could be withdrawn. In the vastness of space, the message echoed clear: harm our children, and you will learn why humans survived long enough to reach the stars in the first place. Earth had awakened something ancient within itself, not a weapon or a warrior, but a truth as old as its first civilizations. Justice has no range limit, and humanity's memory is very, very long.